How is it made? Where does it come from? Is there any connection between tectonic plates and oil fields? What is its purpose? What are the loud booms heard all over the world? Where does our knowledge come from? Well, what could it be?
Oil is made from hydrogen, oxygen and carbon, under very high pressure, with extreme heat.
You have probably heard that oil is made of dead plants and dead animals. But do we have any proof of that?
What if we ask another question instead? Do we have any sources of carbon deep inside the Earth? With a little research we found the following article. This article explains how scientists uncover a huge reservoir of melting carbon deep inside the Earth. Scientists have used the world's largest array of seismic sensors to map a deep Earth area of melting carbon covering 1.8 million square kilometers. Situated under the western US, 350 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface, the discovered melting region challenges accepted understanding of how much carbon the Earth contains. Much more than previously understood. They used a huge network of 583 seismic sensors that measure the Earth's vibrations to create a picture of the area's deep subsurface. Under the western US is a huge underground partially molten reservoir of liquid carbonate. It is the result of one of the tectonic plates of the Pacific Ocean forced underneath the western USA, undergoing partial melting thanks to gases like CO2 and H2O contained in the minerals dissolved in it. Alright, hold on for a second. We just learned that oil consists of hydrogen, oxygen and carbon. We also learned that we need high pressure and heat for oil to form. With huge tectonic plates in the ocean pushing deep into the Earth, creating pressure and all the elements being present in the form of CO2, H2O and carbon, we have everything we need to create oil. We can even create oil in the labs today with algae. We call this product biofuel. Scientists replicate the process the Earth uses to create oil using algae. The system runs at around 350 degrees Celsius at a pressure of around 3000 psi or around 206 bar. Such a high pressure system is not easy or cheap to build. The pressure in the lab equates to around the weight of 1350 cars pushing on the machine. In comparison to the lab, if we go deep inside the Earth at around 3000 meters depth, the pressure is around 24 million psi. This is equal to around the weight of 10 million cars pushing down on everything that's down there. Will that incredible pressure make the progress go faster? If we have such high pressure and vast lakes of underground carbon, would it really take the Earth millions of years to form oil? The main difference between biofuel and fossil fuel is that fossil fuel is formed naturally over millions of years, according to scientists, whereas biofuel is produced industrially and at a much higher pace. The end result is still the same, however. Using any of these fuels will still put the same amount of carbon in the air. The positive thing about the oil created in the lab is that it does not pollute our environment as much as drilling or fracking. While looking around for information, we also stumbled upon a research article that suggests a third theory, that oil came from God during the week the Earth was created. We put the article in the description in case someone wants to read more into this. Since we're talking about oil and the movement of tectonic plates, we quickly want to mention the following phenomena. In case you've never heard of it, people have been reporting strange sounds all over the world, with the earliest reports going back to the mid-1800s. In recent years, the amount of times this phenomena is reported by people has dramatically increased. People describe the sound as loud booms or trumpets. We can't verify if any of the following videos are real, but there's plenty of them on YouTube. Just search for strange sounds or loud booms.
very big. Trumpet down.
What is that?
Was ist das?
Ich habe keine Ahnung, der Junge da unten guckt auch.
You heard it. We're working for you tonight. That boom, a lot of people heard it. They want to know what it is. A lot of people reached out to us today asking what was that loud boom in Alabama.
James played that for us for a couple times just a few minutes ago. You could hear it there, and it could be heard in Birmingham, Hayden, Springville, Pell City, Lincoln, really just to name a few cities.
Yeah, all over the place. But our ABC 3340's Patrick Thomas headed to East Alabama today to talk with people who heard it.
Just like folks in Walker, Winston, Coleman, Blount, St. Clair, Talladega, Clay, and Jefferson counties. Curious about the noise everyone is calling the Bama boom.
Then a little bit of a delay, and then a third boom.
Then information we've been able to gather.
The percussion inside, I could feel it in my trailer. It rattled my trailer.
Wall shook, the door shook, the window shook.
All of the county EMAs where it was heard have no clue. We put calls into NASA, who is looking into it. Some are suggesting it could be a meteor, yet questions remain.
I heard sonic booms before, and you're not gonna get 3 booms out of a sonic boom.
It truly shows the power of social media. We've reached out to NASA, who just got back to us about 20 minutes ago. They still don't know the origin either, but say eyewitness reports of a vapor trail point to a meteor or an aircraft as a possible cause. We've also reached out to Maxwell Air Force Base to find out if it could have been a training exercise and pilot broke the sound barrier. We have not heard anything back just yet.
People have speculated the origin of the sounds. Some theories include fireworks, lightning, supersonic aircraft, and meteors. Following certain events, NASA confirmed there were no meteors in the area. The military told people it's not them either, and the Geological Survey reported no signs of earthquakes. So what could it be? Maybe an exploding weather balloon? There's also some variation. Not all reports sound like the ones we've showed in the beginning. Could the booms be related to oil drilling? We decided to take a look at the places where we are drilling for oil. And while doing that, we found this interactive map. The oil wells are represented as black dots. This map shows the threat levels to the surrounding neighborhoods. The numbers you see at the top of the screen are quite depressing. Here we have a better overview of all the places people are drilling for oil in North America. And here, to the left, we have the places where people have reported booms. These places are marked as red dots. If we look to the right, we have an overview of booms reported in England. Could that also match the places people are drilling for oil? Here's a picture of drill locations in England. If you compare the boom locations and the drill locations, you can see they match quite well. Stepping away from booms for a second, we want to know if there's any connection between tectonic plates and oil. After doing some research, we dotted known oil fields on a map with tectonic plates. As you can see, oil fields and tectonic plates line up quite nicely. But what is all the oil drilling doing to the ground? Are we weakening the ground? Maybe we create little pockets of air that collapse over time, and when the air gets pressed out, we get the boom sounds. We showed the places where loud booms have been reported, and as we pointed out, places where loud booms have been reported could be matched with areas where we are drilling for oil. The areas where we're drilling for oil look like to be related to areas with seismic activity. So is all this just a coincidence, or could there be a connection between them? Currently, the textbooks are telling us that oil does not really have a purpose in the earth, and that removing it does not change anything. But if we go back to our previous point and think again, lots of oil is found near tectonic plates, and it might help the plates slide over each other more smoothly. And without the oil, like any machine, the plates will get stuck. The tectonic plates might grind and bump more into each other, creating bigger earthquakes. Maybe our earthquakes would be less intense if the plates didn't have to struggle so much. Who is behind the current knowledge of oil? To answer that question, we have to go back to the year 1839, the year when John D. Rockefeller was born, who later became the richest person in America's history. He founded Standard Oil, which later turned into ExxonMobil. The Rockefeller family has been in the oil industry ever since. In an interview, Leroy Fletcher, a former government insider, explained the events surrounding the decision to categorize oil as a fossil fuel. Fletcher explains, the results given at the conference in Geneva in 1892 were misleading and were presented by scientists hired by Rockefeller himself. Fossil fuel has always only been a theory, yet it has been taught in schools as fact. Modern petroleum science has debunked that oil comes from fossils many years ago, but their findings have been ignored. We've never found a fossil below 4.8 km, and yet oil is frequently found at depths of over 9 km. We do have to point out that it is not easy to look for fossils at a depth of 9 km, however. The Rockefellers, who have made billions of dollars in the oil industry, are now withdrawing their interests in oil and at the same time fighting the fossil fuel industry. The Rockefellers are now claiming it is bad for our environment and they want to go green. Just keep in mind that currently it takes a lot of energy and creates a lot of pollution to fabricate solar panels. We need better solutions to produce energy.
Can it please be about UFOs?
It's not UFO, Bolle. It's UFO.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
While searching for ways to upgrade our current solar panels, we came across this interesting picture, created by Tengri 137, so-called aliens posting on Twitter with a Dropbox account full of schematics and ideas. Scientists have suggested that when someone observes light, it will behave like a particle, so Tengri suggested the following system. Using a device to observe incoming light, turning it into particles, we focus all the light at a single point, and this point beams the compressed air forwards, like a big magnifying glass. These compressed light beams can then be sent through pipes with mirrors to be compressed even further. This highly compressed beam of light can then be used to heat water and produce clean steam, to run turbines, or create hydrogen through photocatalytic water splitting. This hydrogen can then be used as fuel. If you want to read up on this, you can find more information on the Tengri Dropbox. We link this in the description. It would be nice if someone more knowledgeable would have a look into this, see if it's a scam or something achievable, but it sounds very interesting at least. It is interesting to see where the oil industry is headed. With their claims of going green, are we going to pay for the sun in the future? We don't have proof for some of the things we are talking about in our videos, neither can we fully back our theories with science. Most information is gathered online through a variety of articles and sources, and we like to theorize and speculate with this information, trying to connect the dots. For now, we have to conclude that oil has done a lot of good for humanity. Not only do we use it to move our cars and heat our houses, but also everything we use is made with oil. But we have grown addicted and dependent on oil, which now and in the future will lead to problems. The systems that produce the world's food supply are heavily dependent on oil. Vast amounts of oil and gas are used as raw materials and energy in the manufacture of fertilizers and pesticides. We rely on cheap and readily available energy in all stages of food production, from planting, irrigation, feeding and harvesting, through to processing, distribution and packaging. In addition, oil is essential in the construction and repair of equipment and infrastructure needed to facilitate this industry, including farm machinery, processing facilities, storage, ships, trucks and roads. The industrial food supply system is one of the biggest consumers of oil. Oil has been a big contributor to war and greed. Oil is one of the biggest, if not the biggest player in the global economy. Prices have been rising due to claims from the oil companies about running out in the near future. It's hard to raise prices of something that is in abundance after all. We do know that most algae used for the production of oil is grown in the lab, but please don't go out on boats harvesting all the algae in the ocean to cut costs. Because a lot of algae and bacteria in the ocean create photosynthesis, which provide 50 to 85% of the oxygen we breathe. For many years, companies and people have used our ocean as a dump for toxic waste and things they don't want anymore. Since most of the air you breathe comes from the ocean, please think twice next time you use the ocean as a trash can. It also does not take a rocket scientist to understand burning oil is bad for the environment, or us humans. We don't think oil is made from dead animals over millions of years. We also think the removal of oil near seismic active areas might increase earthquakes, since the plates don't slide smooth over each other anymore. What do you think? Our theories are just our theories, and we don't mind changing them if we are wrong.
Sooner or later, we will have to recognize that the earth has rights to live without pollution. What mankind must know is that human beings cannot live without Mother Earth. But the planet can live without humans.
That is some quality theories.
Thank you so much.